This is News 6 Tonight.
Oh my goodness, so good to have you here for News 6 Tonight on this Monday. The kids back to school.
Back in school.
Daddy got a little extra time with Mom. We hung out. We had lunch. It was like vacation.
Wow.
This is not Ginger Gadsden. This is
not.
Emily McLeod, our community correspondent.
Sorry, you guys are stuck with me tonight.
Welcome to News 6 Tonight. It's
Thank
great
you.
to have you.
Thank you.
She is out there covering your community very well. Always like watching your stuff.
Thank you.
And you have a story that you covered today that we're going to check out in just a little bit. First, though, we have some pretty crazy news that hopped up. Among the BOGOs and the chicken tender subs, people shopping at Publix today, not today, Sunday, over the weekend, dealt with shooting. There was a shooting right outside. It wasn't inside the Publix, but there was this crazy situation involving a stolen BMW and police officers in Ocoee at a very popular Publix. Many of the people in this newsroom go to this Publix all the time, which I think we can be a little disjointed from the news sometimes. And then when we hear this was my Publix where I go every other day.
Exactly.
It really hits you in the face. But crazy situation as some folks inside the Publix were watching these two particular ladies and they were wondering if they were maybe stealing some things from the Publix.
Okay.
And then they got into what is considered a stolen car. And then police officers say they actually hit the officers with the car. And that's when they fired those shots, killing one of the women. The other woman is now in jail. Our community correspondent, Catherine Silver, gives us a little more detail on this story.
Investigators say Stacy Guerrero was the driver in this stolen silver BMW. According to police, she tried to run over two officers. That's when one of them fired their weapon, hitting Guerrero, who later died at the hospital.
It's really crazy to just come in here, my usual shopping experience, and see all this going on.
As police investigate the incident, News 6 has been looking into what led police to this parking lot in the first place.
You're not to return to the Publix, the scene of the crime.
This is Andrea Barboza. Documents obtained by News 6 confirm she was also in that stolen SUV Sunday and was arrested for theft. Both Barboza and Guerrero went into the Publix after 11 a.m. and started filling up shopping carts. Guerrero caught the eye of the manager, who recognized her from prior thefts. The report says she left the store and went back to the BMW when she noticed an employee following her. Our cameras saw police back at the Publix Monday, 24 hours after Guerrero was shot. The department says both officers who she struck with the SUV were not seriously hurt, but they are on leave.
Yeah, so that's the big headline in there, is that the officers are okay. Stephanie Lynn Guerrero was killed in the incident, but kind of a crazy story.
Completely insane.
A Sunday at a nice Publix, you would never expect something like this.
No, and not to mention, there were probably even more people there than usual because it's the Sunday before the first day of school.
It was packed.
It was probably insanely packed in there. People going to get their groceries for the week, getting ready for the school year. You're thinking about 100 other things, and then something like that happens all of a sudden. And I can only imagine people inside, too, were probably so confused as to what happened because They were in there,
You hear a bunch of gunshots out in the parking lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting that it happened on that day. Now, the woman who's left there to deal with some of these charges, it's interesting if people do attempt to steal from a store. I wonder if in any case that it happens, they wait until a very busy day. Kind of fly under the radar. It's probably easier. There's more people. It's harder to keep track of.
Sure. And everyone's in there filling up their carts. Why would that look unusual to anybody else?
And then caught in a stolen BMW. So pretty crazy story out of Publix. Rocked a lot of people in Ocoee who just never expect something like that to happen.
Just trying to get their week started.
One way the week started for the city of Orlando, Doge arrived.
Yeah, they had some visitors.
Yes. So the Department of Government Efficiency for the state of Florida cracked open the files today. They targeted Orange County last week, and this team is now going in there, and they are getting a bunch of files. 27,000 files were uploaded. A lot of work going into this, and according to the state CFO, property tax collections in the city in this area have risen $120 million since COVID. So that is a significant amount of money.
Yep.
And so some of the specific things Doge is requesting here in the letter: homeless services, DEI information, and environmental efforts. Our community correspondent, Mike Valenti, he spoke with city officials about just this today.
Yep.
Mayor Buddy Dyer says the city of Orlando is cooperating with Florida's Doge team, handing over thousands of files Monday to representatives who walked through that door.
We're open to letting anybody go through our books. Most of the information they have is readily available through public records requests.
Do you view this as a legitimate probe or a political fishing expedition?
I'll pass on that one.
Do you think this is legitimate or political?
Hey, I'd say this. We're going to give you all the answers that you're looking for. That's what we're here for. We are fiscally responsible here at the city of Orlando, and that's all this will show.
Do these requests strike you as legitimate, or do you think this is a fishing expedition, as some critics have characterized it?
I don't know what to make out of it, but at the end of the day, audits have a positive purpose also, It exonerates people from any kind of negative thinking anybody may have. So I welcome audit.
So good on Mike Valenti for asking the question that everybody wanted to know, at least from the city. Kevin Hawthorne, good to see you tonight, by the way. Thanks for watching the stream here on YouTube and all over the place. And so it is very fascinating to see how that worked. And I was interested to see how they answered his question, because it was the question everybody wanted to know. And they didn't really take the bait. They said, look, our books are open. They handled it in a very politically correct way. What did you think about that?
Well, it's important to remember too, like what was said, an audit isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It's not an accusation.
It's not an accusation. They're just checking to see, hey, how are you spending this money? And they're looking at specific areas that, they are interested in looking at. So just because it's an audit doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. I would like to know the nuts and bolts of the process of how they are picking which cities and municipalities to go to. Is it a constituent raising a concern, or, how are we picking where we go?
Yeah, critics say that they're picking it based on which places are blue, not which places are red, but that might not always be the case in these situations. And like you said, I think audits in government are always a good thing. Let's see what they uncover. But on the flip side, if somebody starts auditing me,
I'm coming to your house.
Be very uncomfortable.
Give me your files
with the situation. So we'll see what comes of that, and all of it comes down to tax dollars, which was a big part of your story today.
It was indeed. Yeah, it was. So Sanford, they are taking up a proposal right now for a fire assessment fee. Essentially, the mayor says, this is not something that is being used to dig the city out of any sort of financial hole, but rather plan for the future. He said they're hoping to raise about $2.4 million through this assessment fee for critical upgrades. I know one thing they talked about a lot was the fire engine. The need for a new fire engine that was left out of this year's.
Those aren't cheap.
No, they're not. I think they said in the meeting tonight they're around $1.4 million. And what was interesting is that there are not very many companies who are apparently making the equipment needed for fire stations. That's one of the commissioners said in Sanford. There's not very many companies that are making the fire engines anymore. So their choices are limited on who they can go with. So we did talk to the mayor before the meeting earlier today to catch up with him and hear his thoughts on this proposed assessment.
If it passes this year, it would give us some additional revenue. We did not include a couple of things the fire department asked for, including an engine that we put off for a year. If this passes, we'll be able to fund those things. But we don't really have a decision for this year how we would spend that additional funds, but it would be going to the fire department.
So tonight's commission meeting, there was people there that came out and spoke on both sides of the argument.
People are pretty fired up about it.
They are. They're very passionate about it because you have people in Sanford that live on a fixed income. And right now more than ever, with everything being so expensive, every single dollar adds up. So the mayor has told us in the past that each household would pay around $95 for the year. And to some, that might not seem like much. But again, if you're living on a fixed income or whatever your financial situation may be, it all adds up at the end of the day. So people are pretty fired up. Some are for it. They want to see, their city stay safe. And some say it's too much. It's an extra tax. We don't want to pay it.
I notice a lot of viewers feel like everybody's reaching into their pocket right now. And so it was interesting. It goes along well with that last story with the Doge.
Right.
As our property taxes continue to go higher and higher, and new people come in and they're paying triple what many of us paid for our houses. But a lot of this is different buckets. They're saying,
oh, it's so complicated.
It is very difficult to figure out what goes to fire, what goes to schools, police.
Right, impact fees. Specifically, that can only be used toward new projects, not replacements. So that was one thing that somebody brought up tonight was, can we use the impact fees? And the mayor said, no, it can only go toward building a new fire station. We could buy a new fire engine to put in that new fire station, but we cannot replace a fire station with impact fees. So it's so complicated.
Such a mess.
It really is. And, just you're trying to wrap your head around it and understand it all. It can be pretty difficult.
Yeah, it's true. And then people are just like, I don't want to give you my money. So
yeah, at the end of the day.
They're like, well, this is really complicated. Rail Stalker says, good evening to the WKMG team. Good to see you tonight. Thanks for joining us. But nice job on that story.
Thank you.
Also, Sue is joining us. Good to see you tonight.
Hi,
I think
Sue.
she is our Nova Scotia viewer.
Oh, yes.
Who joins us. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Great story. Several great stories for you coming after the break, including a misprint on a sample ballot.
On a lot of sample ballots.
Yes.
On a lot.
89,000 of them, in fact. So we'll talk about how that happened coming up after a quick break. Welcome to News 6 Tonight. We are so thankful that you're joining us here wherever you found us.
Yeah, you know what this tells me? If you have made this your news streaming destination, it tells me you're smart. Also good looking, because you chose to watch the news in a different way. That makes you really smart. Anybody can give you the news from a teleprompter or an old newspaper. We do it in a fresh new way.
That's right. So check us out wherever you like to stream. We have this app for your TV, News 6 Plus. You can find it on Roku and Amazon and whatever your smart TV is cooking. So thank you. We would love to hear your comments down below.
Gosh. Yeah.
And then we'll show them.
Yeah, we will. News 6 Plus. The plus is you.
Ooh.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to News 6 at 9. Is that the official name of the show?
No, it's News 6 Tonight.
News 6
Darn
Tonight.
it, Emily. We had one rule here. You got to get the name of the show right, okay?
Oh my gosh, The hook's going to come out and yank me out.
It is at 9 o'clock. No, yeah, you're out of here.
News 6 at night. That's what we're on right now.
News 6 tonight, but whatever,
News 6
you know.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight, News 6 tonight. I'm going to get it
yeah,
right.
if you need it, it's just on that monitor right there.
Thank you so much. All right, moving along. We've got another story out of Orange County today. Ballot misprints from the Orange County Supervisor of Elections Office. Laverne McGee did this story. 89,000 ballots, sample ballots, were delivered to people that are west of I-4 in the college, like outside of College Park, so Rosemont, Mercy Drive, Ocoee, Pine Hills, the fairgrounds. People who live in that area, they got a sample ballot in the mail, had the wrong candidate's name on it. This was 89,000 ballots. So originally...
Speaking of, you only had one job. You get the show name right, you get the name of the people on the ballot correct, right?
I have them written down right here in front of me just to make absolutely certain.
That's good. We don't want to mess that up.
Exactly. No, we don't want to mess that up. So it has Travaris McCurdy's name rather than Rashawn Young's name. And Young beat McCurdy back in the June Democratic primary for this special election. So we'll go ahead and toss it over to Laverne McGee. She did the story today. She did a little bit of a deeper dive on it.
Because of this, we're going to work harder, right?
Rashawn Young is the Democratic nominee for the House District 40 special election. But if you are one of the almost 89,000 people who got a sample ballot this weekend, you will not see his name. You can see right here the name of the man he beat in the 24th Democrat special election primary election, Travaris McCurdy. A shocking mistake by the Orange County Supervisor of Elections Office, led by Karen Castor-Dental.
I found out because I looked in the mailbox and pulled out my sample ballot and saw the error.
Been more than happy to explain, you know, it's a printing error. It did happen here in-house. It wasn't our vendor's fault. It was an error here on our end, and we've traced it. We traced the origin, and we're working to rectify it.
As for how much this will cost taxpayers?
I would estimate maybe somewhere in the $25,000 range.
A lot of stories focused on taxpayer money today, how much is going to cost the taxpayer. But basically, at the end of the day, it was an error that happened in-house, so not their vendor's fault. But imagine being the candidate going to get your sample ballot.
And that's what happened. That's how he figured it out.
And that's what happened. He figured it out, and he saw this is not my name on here.
The guy, not only that, the guy you beat's name is on that ballot.
Right, exactly. So imagine opening that up, and I mean, thankfully it was the sample ballots, and so that would be a much bigger mess. But I can only imagine the confusion opening up your ballot. Wait, I didn't think it was.
I thought I won.
I thought I won that. Is
happened?
it a dream?
And to have one mistake cost taxpayers $25,000.
That's a lot of money.
We all make mistakes.
Sure.
Something will mess up in the news all the time, but fortunately, it usually doesn't cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh, Christopher Snyder says we all make mistakes, but ouch. Yes. He is someone who doesn't make many mistakes. He works here at News 6, but the good stuff with that one. So. It's back to school. First day, back to school. Got the little Austin girls out.
Oh.
Everybody looked great. By the way, the day went well.
Good.
I'm very happy to report.
Good.
That was my FaceTime before the show.
Sweet.
Just to make sure it was all good. But leading into our back to school coverage, the story that nobody wanted to try to do in this building, I think, I got with book bans.
Okay.
So when we use the term book bans, that is controversial when it comes to this because these are not banned from library, like public libraries. They're not being burned in the streets, but these are books that are taken off the shelves in school libraries. And this has been so heated recently. So I dove deep into this topic, and to do it, it's so controversial.
Yeah,
people
it is.
on both sides get very fiery. So I wanted to find two moms for this story, and I found them at Orange County Public School Board meetings.
Amazing.
Kind of going after each other. So let's take a look at some of the story I did.
Two moms fighting for what they feel is the best for their kids.
99% of parents don't know that this material is in our kids' schools.
Alicia Ferran, mom of 5, is an OCPS school board member who believes the board should curate content.
I feel like it's my job as a school board member to make sure that we protect and defend every child who comes into our schools.
And on the podium, Stefana Farrell, mom of 2. She says banning books from schools arbitrarily infringes on her kids' freedom.
My kids are still young. When they get to that high school age, I want them to have access to books that are going to represent the world that they're heading into.
So here are the cliff notes of this debate. For decades, counties had a process. Parents could file an issue at their school, then a committee would get together, research the book, and vote. Now, 5 years ago, this really wasn't much of an issue. Now, OCPS is taking books off the shelf without looking at individual works.
Very difficult to navigate because there's no clear delineation that this is inappropriate and this is appropriate. And the state statutes make it worse.
So this is a tough topic.
It is.
There are books in schools, and we have folks saying leave our school libraries alone. And it's interesting. There's two sides that are the loudest. There's one side that says we need to take out a lot of books, and then there's one side that says we should leave in all the books. And I think there's probably a gigantic middle there of people who say, well, some books probably are not appropriate. And I have read, I know people, when you do these stories, we're doing a story about books in schools. So I read through some of the notes of the books that have been kicked out of school libraries. And there's some really deep stuff, like some graphic depictions of sexual contact and you know, it's things that I literally could not say on television. The FCC would take our license. Were in schools. And there are people who say, well, some of these depictions, they want them to be a learning experience for some kids, and they don't want to shelter their kids, which, you know, that is an argument in this as well. So it's hard.
It's so difficult because, you know, if it's the parent that's saying this and it's their child, and, you know, it's just such a complicated topic. Like you said in your story, you know, who's the right person to make that call in this case?
When you look at somebody in the eye, the women I interviewed, and they fervently tell you how they're trying to protect their kids, and they have exact opposite opinions, those are the toughest stories to tell. But, so the nice thing is we can just tell both sides and then let you decide at home what it is you prefer, and that's the way I like to do it. All right, let's talk about the weather for that first day of school. It actually worked out pretty nice.
It was beautiful.
Samara Coquinos, who is in for Jonathan Kagas tonight. Good to have you, Samara. So tell us, as we look into tonight and day 2 of school, how's everything working out?
You know, we didn't really have as much rain as we had over the weekend. There were still a few downpours and a few thunderstorms, but I think that's going to be exactly what we're dealing with again tomorrow. But you guys already know that everybody's just like, yeah, day-to-day thunderstorms. What we really want to talk about is Tropical Storm Erin. Everybody. I know. And you know, the thing is that this particular system is still a ways away. Okay. So I don't want everybody in an uproar about this particular system. This one is going to take its time getting here. So this is what Tropical Storm Erin looks like out there. It's kind of got that organization together, which was exactly what we were anticipating to happen. And originally the National Hurricane Center over the weekend said, hey, it could happen, about 60% chance of it happening by Monday, and then a 90% chance of it happening in the upcoming week. And it decided this morning, you know what? Buckle up, y'all. I'm not a tropical depression. I'm just going to be a tropical storm. So that's exactly what we had early this morning. So when we're actually talking about the system itself, and if I can get this to work for me, here we go. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Bear with me here. It's going to do what it feels like, I think.
There's a lot of ghosts in the computers for News 6 tonight.
That
fire alarm going off earlier.
No,
Ghost set off the fire alarm.
It's going to do what it wants to do. There we go. Let me see if it's going to push play this time. There we go. Okay, let me put it back in the view that you guys can see. There's a lot of buttons to push. I love Jonathan for doing this all the time. So when we look at Tropical Storm Erin, still moving to the west at 21 miles per hour with 45 mile per hour winds, central pressure at about 1,004 millibars, right? We put that track in motion. And as we get closer to Thursday morning, we're talking 2 o'clock in the morning. So the previous track had it for Wednesday night. Now it's talking about Thursday morning. It could be either. We'll see some shifting as it continues. Regardless, we're still going to have our first hurricane of the 2025 season this week. And then it'll continue to basically blow up from there into this bigger storm, possibly a major category 3 as we head into Saturday. So what I always like to bring to everyone's attention is look at the track from today going all the way through Wednesday afternoon as it's a tropical storm. That track is very, very tight, right? And then you start to get beyond that. So we're talking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it starts to get wider and wider. And what that tells us is that there is a lot of models that still don't exactly agree as to what's happening right now. What we do know is that, hey, will it get up to that category 3 status? Yeah, it very well could, because look at these sea surface temperatures, guys. We're talking 82 degrees right off the coast of Africa, getting up to
that
about
is
80.
that is toasty.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell, this is a good tease, because coming up at 10 and 11 o'clock, Samara's going to go in depth and tell you where she thinks this thing is going to go. And I think you'll be hopefully happy with that. Samara Coquinos, thank you very much.
I mean, I will give you an idea of where I want it to go. No.
We all know where we all want it to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Samara,
No,
we're going to take
I
a
mean,
quick.
we have a, you know, a thing where we say, look, it could go a couple of different ways. And of course, I will address those later on tonight on News 6 at 10 and 11, of course, for you guys. But the models have just been kind of, you know, disagreeing a little bit on the end result.
All right. Sounds good. Samara Coquinos, thank you very much. We appreciate that in-depth look. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome to News 6 Tonight. We are so thankful that you're joining us here wherever you found us.
Yeah, you know what this tells me? If you have made this your new streaming destination, it tells me you're smart, also good looking, because you chose to watch the news in a different way. That makes you really smart. Anybody can give you the news from a teleprompter or an old newspaper. We do it in a fresh new way.
That's right. So check us out wherever you like to stream. We have this app for your TV, News 6 Plus. You can find it on Roku and Amazon and whatever your smart TV is cooking. So thank you. We would love to hear your comments down below.
Gosh. Yeah.
And then we'll show them.
Yeah, we will. News 6 Plus. The plus is you.
Ooh. News 6 Tonight is back. We're still in style, unlike this sound you're about to hear.
Oh.
Remember this one?
Yeah.
This one always hurt the old eardrum.
How could you forget it?
That is the AOL sound.
Oh my gosh. When I was in the car earlier today, y'all sent it, and I, you know, had Siri play my messages out loud, and it was just that sound that played in the car.
Oh, really?
And I had no context as to what you guys are talking about.
AOL is cooked. You do not have mail from AOL anymore. They're shutting it down. Apparently, they were still selling dial-up internet.
Really?
You can't watch this show on dial-up. Have a great night. We'll see you at 10 and 11.